Darlena shook her head. This is something you'll come to understand. I think you've already experienced some of the consequences to things people would view as blessings with what Star and Moon is able to accomplish. Clapping her hands together, it said, with fighting 3 of the horned wolves, I think you have a good understanding of how important knowing your limits and strategy are inside of this environment. Sighing, Claire nodded. That's the truth. I feel like my mind would shatter if I were to continuously charge in blindly, fighting against these monsters without any preparation. She shivered at the idea of being foolish enough to face against a pack of the monsters on her own, repeatedly being torn apart just to repeat it due to incompetence. Agreeing with Claire's sentiment, Darlena then proceeded to snap its fingers. Instead of the grassy field, the 2 of them were surrounded by a large city. Claire's eyes were wide, watching as people were walking about, going about their business. What threw her off were the bipedal monsters interacting with humans. There were some that had the appearance of the horned wolf, though their arms and legs looked human, just with the added fur. In addition to the ones that walked on 2 legs, there were some creatures that had the lower body of a snake or spider. With these people, some had the legs of a human, but the upper body of a snake or spider. The combination of monsters and humans was diverse. Humans didn't seem to find it odd, monsters walking about, which Claire found strange. Where are we? She tried to figure out what kind of place Darlena had sent them. As you can see, this is a city which is found in many of the simulations. I've mentioned this before, but the size of the civilized areas will vary based on what level of simulation you're renting time in. This is a city that's deeper into the free simulation, where the surrounding area outside the city has higher level monsters. Between the difficulty of the horned wolf and the armored lion you faced against, Darlena explained. Why are we even here? Claire asked, wondering how this was part of the training. Directing Claire's attention to a nearby building that was larger compared to the ones next to it. This is the Adventurers Guild. Hearing the name of the building, Claire was about to ask Darlena before being cut off by the robot. Yes, it's the same guild as the one inside the shelter. Star and Moon intentionally designed it this way so adventurers would get used to the idea. Inside this building, you'll see the same things as you'd see outside the simulation, like when you go to the kiosk or desks. Darlena began walking towards the building, waving its hand at Claire to indicate she should follow it. Claire walked behind the robot, staring at the grand building, which looked to be built out of stone instead of metal, like in the shelter. There were massive columns in front of the entrance with a door several times larger than a human, as though giants were expected to use the entrance. As they entered the building, the setup was very similar to what Claire saw when entering the guild initially, when she went through the shimmering wall led by Melody. The interior was only different from the lack of metal, replaced instead with wood and stone. It was also packed with people, some leaning against the walls as they talked to others, or sitting in groups at the various tables scattered throughout the lobby. Just as with the outside of the building, the variety of humanoids was surprising and made Claire curious. Now, with the guild outside the shelter, we, the Darlenas, help out adventurers. But inside the simulation, this isn't the case. Darlena pointed at a woman in a uniform that had the Star and Moon logo on the right breast of the uniform. They'll be the ones that'll help you out with questions you may have in addition to handling jobs. I heard the mention of jobs before, but what do you mean by that? Claire was looking forward to learning more about the guild, especially inside of the simulation.